Apple, take one, marker.
Thank you, sir.
And action!
I just booked my vacation.
Where to?
Straight to Gainesville. Right. Get to work. Here we go. I'm working. Let's go.
That's a strong breath, baby! Ooh, baby! Let's go! Let's go!
What is up, folks? Today we are going to tap into a subject that is very often overlooked or just straight up never talked about at all. I'm talking about set etiquette. Now, it was brought to my attention over on the Dog Times Patreon Discord that a couple of the guys thought that I have a unique point of view or perspective on the topic of set etiquette just based upon the fact that for the past 10 years, I spent my time as a working actor in the film industry, and then in 2017, I transitioned over into the cinematography world. So just to give you a little bit of background, if you're new here, I have been a member of the Screen Actors Guild, otherwise known as SAG-AFTRA, since 2011. I have had speaking roles in numerous television shows, little guest star, co-star spots. I've been in feature films, short films, nationwide commercials. I mean, you name it. I mean, you're talking about a decade of working as an actor in the industry. Now, to supplement my income, rather than doing bartending or something like that, I took my union status and used it to its full advantage, and as a Thrival job I also worked as a union stand-in, and it just supplemented my income really nicely, along with, you know, the 1 or 2 acting roles I booked every month, right? And I operated like that for 10 years. But the point of this video is to share with all of you up and coming cinematographers how you can walk onto a set and be better prepared and present yourself a little more professionally and not make any of these mistakes, things that I've witnessed not only as a stand-in but also as an actor, and things that are really pet peeves of mine and I know bother a lot of people and would never fly on a real Hollywood set. So let's jump right in. The first big topic here is the lines of communication. Who is allowed to say what to the actors, right? Now this gets really skewed because I know non-union and low budget stuff is like the wild, wild west, but the problem is when everybody starts chiming in with ideas on how they think the scene should go and how, you know, acting notes and all this stuff, shit goes south really quick, right? That is the #1 sign of a highly unprofessional set, right? Nobody should be giving any thoughts to how the scene should go, and especially acting notes, all of that stuff. The only person that ever needs to be communicating that is the director and the director only, right? One of my biggest pet peeves, you'd be surprised on the things that I was hired to act in, high budget stuff, and still other actors trying to give another actor notes. Nothing pisses me off more. It is highly, highly unprofessional and very disrespectful. And whenever that was happened to me or I saw that happening, I would say, hey, let's let the director give those notes, okay? And that's exactly what you can say as well. And even as the time I've spent as a DP, if I ever see that happening, and I have, where I grab the director and I say, hey, you shouldn't let the actors give other actors notes. You should be the only one giving notes on set, right? So if you learn nothing else from my channel or anywhere else on YouTube, please take that note and run with it. Don't ever find yourself giving notes to the actors, and don't let anyone else give notes to the actors unless you are the director, okay? I'm just gonna drop that right there because I see that all the time. And in line with that, going along with what can the DP chime in on, right? Because I know DPs sometimes need to tweak a scene, maybe they need to tweak the blocking, you know what I mean? Or, you know, they need to just shift where the person's sitting, or maybe they're setting up the frame and, oh, this piece of furniture is in the shot. The DP is not allowed to go changing the blocking. He's not allowed to go moving the furniture. None of that is his area, right? How it really works is the DP has an idea to tweak the blocking, so he quietly tells the director or suggests to the director this new form of blocking, explains why he needs to do that blocking, why it would benefit the image, right? And then if the director agrees with it, the director will go over and relay the note or change the blocking to the actor, right? And then as far as the set pieces go, that is production designers or set deck, right? You call for those guys or girls and they will move the stuff that you need to move, you know, and that's just how it rolls in the real world, right? You only touch the items that are in your department. And I know a lot of you guys are, you know, out of film school or went to film school years ago, but you'd be surprised on how many sets I've been on, even union sets, where people forget these things and the shit goes out the window and it turns into the wild, wild west very, very quickly. And to me, you know, I have an extensive background as far as acting training goes and all of this. You can just IMDb me, you know, if you want to, you know, challenge me or whatever the case may be. I'm just sharing with you my experience and telling you the things that would never fly on a real Hollywood set, right? The second one going into that is call times, and especially out here in LA. People think the time on the call sheet means that's when they're rolling into the parking lot. Or they think, oh, that's when I get there and then I start eating breakfast. No, that's not how it is. If you're on time, you're already late, right? If you want to eat breakfast, you show up a half hour early, right? When the time on the call sheet is actually the time you're already on set working, right? Straight up. If you're on time, you're already late. Now, that should have been instilled in film school like most of us, but you'd be surprised, especially out here in LA, everybody thinks, oh, blame it on the traffic. No. I have worked plenty of, you know, legitimate projects here in LA where, no, that shit does not fly one bit, right? And me as a cinematographer, you know, I'm an owner-operator. I have a very micro little lighting kit and the camera package. I show up an hour early just so I have time to unload everything, check out the spot, you know, and, you know, figure out what's going on. And lastly, the thing to touch on is, because I know, like what we talk about over on the Patreon a lot of times, is working with new directors, inexperienced directors, and it can be frustrating at times, right? Because they want to influence your work and to a point where you start feeling a little, you know, infiltrated as an artist, right? And maybe that definitely has happened to me as an actor way more than as a cinematographer, right? And any time that I'm confused by what's going on, or as soon as my bullshit radar goes off in my head and I know in my head, okay, this director is very inexperienced, what I've always done, and I encourage you to do the same, is request that the director explain to me his creative choice. It's that simple. I've done that thousands of times as an actor on, you know, highly professional sets where I say, I don't understand this choice. Would you mind explaining to me this creative choice? And right then and there, you'll find out real quick who you're working with, because he either is very eloquent and has a really, you know, a lot of justifiable reasons for his creative choice, or you find out that he doesn't know anything about anything, right? Either way, whatever the case may be, whether it is BS or it's legitimate, you have to honor that choice. You have to figure out how to tap into yourself, get rid of the ego, and say, okay, man, I gotta figure it out. He's the director. He's the captain now, right? I live by a mantra on all of my sets, and I've carried it with me from being an actor throughout these past years as a cinematographer, and I tell my assistant all the time, I say, hey man, it's his world, we are just living in it, right? And that's the reality of the situation, because the director is Godzilla on set, and it doesn't matter how awesome or how crazy or how inexperienced he or she is, right? Because I know we have many talented female directors as well. My wife is one of them. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out a way to cater what they're asking for, because that is your job. Right? You can't sit there and start debating with a director, because that's going to make your crew turn on you real quick, right? Because then they say, oh, okay. Either that, or you start forming a rebellion against the director. And I've been a little guilty of that a few times myself, right? It is so hard to honor a director that is clearly less experienced than you and your team, but at the end of the day, you have to figure out a way to honor it. And sometimes in my scenarios, I've had to literally just bite my tongue, close my eyes, take a deep breath, and go, it's his world, I'm just living in it. Okay, folks, so take all that however you may. you know, I hope I didn't offend too many people, but I just want to be real with you, because I know here on this biohazard of YouTube, there's a lot of things on here, a lot of people who have wonderful knowledge, but a lot of them have never even been on a real set. And I know a lot of my audience is camera guys that are either already working or aspiring to be doing some really good work. So I just wanted to give any insight to you guys that had never been on a real set before, okay? And again, I'm not talking about my time as a cinematographer, I'm talking about my time as a working actor in Hollywood. Also, I'd like to say, if you'd like to be involved with these awesome conversations where this topic first came up about, join us over on the Dog Times Productions Patreon page. I mean, we have an awesome conversations going on all the time over on the Discord. We have cinematographers at all different levels, and we have females, males. It's a cool learning place, and you know, I like to keep things very familial, you know? It's like a cool little fraternity almost. So if you're interested in it, there's a link down in the description below, okay? As always, thanks for watching, and for now, that is a wrap.
You were drinking that night of the shooting.
Excuse me?
The witness will answer the question.
Yeah, I had a few drinks, but I was still aware. I saw what happened. AJ shot Donald.
But you were so aware of your drinking that you asked Detective Betty Kessner to drive you home that night.
That's not what I said. I said I was aware of what happened.
So you didn't ask Detective Betty to drive you home because, and I quote here, "I'm back, you bitches. Now shut the fuck up and let's drink."
No.
Whoa.
Yes, I did, okay, but I saw what happened.